I know I've always been a little unsure of what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm studying engineering and environmental studies, and I think my passions lie on both ends, but not at all intersecting. I know one thing I've been really thinking about, especially over the past summer, has been doing work in higher education and doing work in sustainability. Just after talking to people who work at food pantries and people who work at food banks and things like that, I've realized there's a lot of work that can be done working with students in response to conservation issues, to sustainability issues. That doesn't directly mean working in an environmental office or working as an environmental professor. So thinking about other ways to interact with students, to do things like work at a school garden, to teach students about food growing and food education, or working in a like student help office and teaching students about their eligibility of different products and different like benefits. I think there's a lot of different places where you can do work to sort of help students who need it. And I know I've been thinking a little bit more about specifically, if I were to work in higher education, what different places could I see myself doing good work in?
Been really interested in is learning about how women are disproportionately impacted by climate change, especially I've studied a lot in my classes about women in the developing world who are impacted by climate change. And I'm also an earth science major, so I've been taking a lot of geology classes, and something that I've been trying to figure out is how I can kind of combine those two, like the more hard science background and an interest in environmental justice, how I can kind of combine those two. And this summer, through some readings, I was introduced to agroecology, and that's essentially working with small scale farmers and finding sustainable agriculture solutions to incorporate traditional agricultural methods, and create food systems that work to empower small scale farmers, and also create a sustainable agriculture system. So and also I've also learned that women make up the majority of small scale farmers and agribusinesses. So if I could in the future work to do research on that, through a nonprofit or through some other type of research, I'd be really interested in doing that.
Well, I think that grad school is definitely in my future. So after I graduate, I will be attending grad school, studying conservation biology, but I'm really interested in doing field work and like field research type of stuff. So hopefully, end up in a lab that allows me to do that. And then further down the line, probably, I don't know. It's kind of hazy. Once I get past the grad school part, it gets kind of hazy, but I just hopefully just doing research and trying to contribute to the field in some type of way. But definitely, being out there in the field, getting dirty.
It's funny because when I started college, I was dead set on going to grad school immediately. I was like, I'm gonna get the GRE. I have all these mentors, and now I think I still want to go to grad school eventually. As a biology student, I think I need to kind of specify where I want to go with this major, but right now my idea is to I have 2 places in Ecuador that have offered me internships for the possibility of like research and stuff, and so I'm going to try and become a Fulbright scholar and try and get to those places. So that's a giant thing that I'm trying to that I'm going to be applying for next year. And yeah, and if that doesn't work out, they've said that they can try and give me some housing stipends or something like that to work in South America for a bit of time. I just think that as a biology student who wants to focus on wildlife rehabilitation, I need more experience in the world, knowing like what the other parts of the world are going through, especially animals and the climate, because it's more of a global issue than just like a certain center issue. So I want to be able to like have an internship in different parts of the globe where I'm not going to be as comfortable, and where I'm going to be required to speak a second language and learn about other people's cultures rather than just be comfortable where I am. Because I feel like that part is kind of missing, where to me at least, jumping to grad school would just be a sense of comfort because I've been in school my whole life. And it would just be a kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do yet, let's go to grad school. And I want to go to grad school knowing what I want to do and what I want to research. I don't want to go without fully knowing, and just because I think that's the safest option for me. I want to go fully being like, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to complete it all. So yeah, that's currently what I'm trying to aim towards.
This is a interesting question for me because I actually just recently switched majors. So I'm a public health major with an environmental health focus. I used to be just an environment major, but I'm really interested in the forefront of health aspects as it relates to the environment, because a lot of environmental justice issues are essentially health justice issues and health equity issues as well. And so I really want to learn about that side of environmental justice as well. And so after undergrad, I'm interested actually in attending law school for environmental law. And I really want to work in public service and working for the government at places like the EPA or the CDC and environmental health units to kind of do more upstream interventions and help create policies and laws related to the environment for the sake of public health, and actually putting those issues on the forefront and making those laws instead of just addressing them as these cases come along, which is not the right way to do it. And many underserved communities are the people who are most affected by environmental justice issues. And so that's really something that's really interesting to me, especially as there's not also many, I guess, lawyers or politicians in the environmental field that look like me. And so I think it's also important that if you're going to be working on these environmental cases in these communities that are underserved, that it's important that they feel like they have somebody that looks like them that's on their side and is fighting for those issues. And so that's what I'm really interested in working on. And hopefully probably after I've had a long law career in the environmental field, I'll maybe go into making my own, I guess, nonprofit public service law company and help people with pro bono cases. So, yes.
Well, I honestly have no idea exactly what I want to do, but being a Doris Duke scholar taught me that I can follow my research interests, whether they be food waste or anaerobic digestion or ecofeminism, and actually like go to grad school and pursue my education. And that's not something I really thought much about before the program, but it's definitely something I want to do and I can see myself doing now. I'm certain that whatever I do, research is definitely a part of what I want to do, and I like writing. This program has really cemented that. And I'm certain that environmental justice work will be a part of it, and I want to continue studying how different communities are impacted by green gentrification and everything that's happening, and how we can mitigate those harmful impacts and also empower small communities to grow their own food, to be their own environmental advocate. So I'm gonna just see where that takes me. I'm confident that I have the resources through this program, through my university, to follow these research interests and see where they take me.